10 players was asked to give our post-fight view on the Garcia Herrera Wilder Scott fight. Most of you already know this, but for the few who don't, and may be wondering why we're giving such a late view on it, it's because we're a request channel. If no one asks for it, well, we don't give it. And sometimes people ask afterwards. And we like it that way. Because frankly, well, we're just too damn lazy to be looking for news to deliver. Holler to AAAA789 also for asking for this one. So we let you real players deliver to us what you want us to deliver. We know most of you are probably like, hey 10 players, why the fuck are you telling us this shit we already know? Well, it's because we always get a few non-players who find our videos, then send us angry inbox messages. So for you new non-players, sooner or later we'll probably knock one of your fighters out. Because we do shit like that. So get the fuck over it. Go find the Barney Sesame Street channel and shut the fuck up. But for the new cool real players, we actually do videos very fast. Unless we're being slow. Now we recently watched Garcia take on Herrera in a fight. One which we definitely saw Danny lose. Perhaps you saw him win. We respect that. But we saw him lose. And from Danny's body language at the end of that fight, and Angel Garcia's defensive post-talk, we don't think for a second they actually think they won either. And we've been seeing this shit for a long time in boxing. Take Oscar for example. We've seen him lose where we felt he got the shaft, because we personally feel he won the rematch against Mosley. But we've also seen situations where big future fights will be disrupted by a loss, so big names get a gift because of it. The same way we feel Oscar lost the rematch against Mosley when he really won. Sad thing about Mosley is this. We honestly don't know who could have been pissing for him during any testing. Like maybe while Margarito's gloves was loaded with plaster, Shane was loaded with juice. I mean, don't get this shit twisted, because Shane's one of our favorite fighters. But while Miguel was running from Margarito, Shane was slapping that motherfucker around like a pimp teaching his hoe a lesson. At the same time, we feel Oscar got a gift against Felix Sturm, because a big fight with Bernard Hopkins next was laying in the balance. And some big money making fights lay in the balance for Danny Garcia as well. Now we've done a few videos speaking on Garcia in the past. Who happens to be one of our favorite active fighters. Which we was gonna do a video on the last time we spoke on Garcia. But too many in the closet bitch ass motherfuckers came in talking shit. So we didn't, because we don't bow to no motherfuckers. We weren't gonna say Garcia was one of our favorites in case some dumb fucks thought we might be saying that because their videoless asses left some bitch ass comments. Like they're bullying someone and really think channels fear them. If they were really that brave they would have given us their fucking home address. We told them. Fuck you. Then. And we're telling them. Fuck you. Right now. But now that Danny got his gift, and the majority of fans with eyes can see it, we're more than happy to say he's one of our favorite fighters. Now that he lost, and his belt is currently a fake paper belt, he can go back home with his fake paper belt. But we don't blame Danny for the decision. He has nothing to do with it. Because there are some Danny haters out there who'll want to get into Danny's ass too. Because far too many fans hate Danny because of Angel's mouth. Which we personally find to be hilarious. But Danny's never really done anything unlikable that we personally witnessed. Even though you can question him acting like he didn't know who Mayfield was. Know this though. Damn near every champ gets a gift, but next time around they've gotta be impressive. So we could have embraced a draw, but there's no way in hell we saw Danny win that fight. But we wanna say this to fans. Within the last couple of years, we've observed some fight fans awakening. And we like it. They're complaining about the state of boxing and shit going on in it. But there's still more awakening needed. Because there are still fans who act like cheap slutty whores when it comes to a lot of fighters. How cheap? This cheap.
I'll give you a blowjob behind that garbage can for 50 cents.
Yeah. That cheap. And we're not joking. Everyone's a fucking great fighter to these motherfuckers these days. A guy wins one fight, with a bunch of questionable wins, and he's a great fighter. Now all fighters have a certain amount of cool level-headed fans. And that includes Garcia fans. But they all have a certain amount of those obsessed in the closet non-player fans that act like fucking freaks over them. Getting pissed if you say anything that doesn't involve kissing their fighter's ass. Like when we said Danny and Lucas were yet to prove they're great fighters. We had fans of theirs coming in hitting the fucking ceiling. Saying shit like, how could you not say they're great fighters? They beat that guy they fought last. You see. That's what we mean by cheap whores. Like let a motherfucker earn the title of great. We respect those who like to use those terms. It's just not a term the 10 players crew uses unless a fighter does some truly incredible shit. A great fighter to us is a Hall of Famer. A Hall of Famer is a fighter that's done something so incredible, that he must be remembered forever. Danny hasn't done anything we feel needs to be remembered forever. Like our great-great-grandchildren need to know who Danny was. Like we need to bounce them on our old knees 100 years from now, or come back from the dead to visit them in their dreams to tell the story of Danny. We like Danny. But not that fucking much. We call Joe Louis great. Why should these guys be put on the same pedestal? We haven't seen no 20 to 25 title defenses from them. Against the best available. We haven't even seen half of that. So if they're great because they won 3 or 4 fights, then what should we call guys like Joe Louis? I guess we'd have to call him a boxing god if that's the case. There aren't too many active fighters that can even be considered for the title of great. Outside of Pac, Floyd, the Klitschkos, and B-Hop, who's a record breaker as the oldest to win a title. But not some guys just because they won a few defenses. What we will say about guys like Danny, Khan, Lucas, Bradley, and all the top names, is that they're good fighters. We could even say damn good. But we're not stamping the title of great on them. The time may come when we will, but for now they have a bit more work for that. Ultimately, we want to give credit to Herrera for his win. Because he deserves that respect for this fight. Provodnikov got his attention in his loss. And we actually feel Bradley won by the rules. We just say he wouldn't have lasted another minute. But we do respect his win. But to say Garcia went in and beat Herrera is ludicrous. The next is the future of Deontay Wilder, as many question whether the fight with Malik Scott was a fixed fight. As far as a guy being able to knock another guy out with a shot like that, anyone can test it for themselves. Just tilt your head forward, and give yourself a little bop with the base of the palm of your hand. Right here. Then imagine that 200 times harder. Whether the fight was actually thrown, is something we honestly don't know. Because it's not even something we inspected. Because we don't give a shit. Because for us, the jury's still out on Wilder no matter what. But you really can knock a motherfucker out like that. When it comes to his future, it looks bright to us. As long as he keeps moving along at his current somewhat slow pace. We sure the hell don't see him calling out Vladimir. But we do like the way Wilder talks about unifying the belts. We're just yet to see what happens when he steps up with a fighter who has no fear, and is mugging him. Staying deep in his grill, and so close he can't shoot that jab like a pool stick hitting the cue ball. What happens when a fighter like that takes him to the 6th or 7th? Is Wilder a fighter who can go the distance in a tough fight? What happens when his chin gets checked for the first time? With a shot like what Martinez landed on Paul Williams. There's still a lot of questions to be answered. And in our view, Del Boy's the perfect test. He'll fight anyone, he's not scared, and unlike most fighters today, he has a real fighter's mentality. Which is this. The man fights to win, but isn't afraid to lose. And that's the problem with too many fighters today. Fear of losing. Lots of people have their top 10 and pound for pound lists. But we have a top 10 non-duckers list. And Del Boy's on it. He's been in with the big boys and comes for a mugging. Or Chris. Who feels Wilder's a lot of hype. For who he's been in the ring with so far though. He's been impressive. But we want to see Wilder in with someone that actually makes us want to watch. Because we already knew he'd knock Malik the fuck out within 3. Throne fight or not. It wasn't exactly a bet you needed to hedge. Now before we go, we want to say this. We seriously felt Herrera was so disrespected coming into the Garcia fight, that he should be acknowledged and credited for putting on a damn good fight. And don't blame Garcia for this shit. But the marketing plan for that fight sucked. And for some strange reason they felt Herrera wasn't even worth showing for a fraction of a second. Basically, what they were saying was that the man is nobody and not worth being seen. Well, every fighter is somebody. Underdog or not. We know Danny's the champ and deserves the majority of the attention. But it would have been nice if they showed his opponent for 1 second. Because no one's tuning in to watch fighters shadow box. Fighters need opponents, and can't fight the air. And this somebody who was treated like a nobody, an empty air, made a statement in the ring. And we're just acknowledging that we saw it. So props to Herrera, the new off-the-record champ. And if Danny can come back and win a rematch, he'll be a notch closer to one day being called great. But there's no guarantee Herrera will get one.